All right. So, guys, good morning to one and all of you. We're going to just now resume our discussion with respect to integration of Oracle Identity Manager with Exchange, connector. Uh, in the all the previous modules, I believe we have installed the Exchange connector, and then we validated the various objects that got created, and of course, in the third and the fourth module, though I really did not, show the live demo to install the connector server for Exchange. Okay, so I believe the step is very similar to what we did in Active Directory. So that's why I skipped those third and the fourth step. Okay, and now in the previous module, we talked about configuring the IT resource parameters and the connector server parameters for Exchange. Yes. Now, in this particular module, we are just going to run the scheduled jobs corresponding to Exchange. There are a couple of scheduled jobs that we have to run so that it actually fetches all the parameters from Exchange. It establishes those connectivity. We will come to know whether OIM is being able to talk to Exchange and whether the initial connection between OMS and Exchange has been set properly or not. Okay, when we complete this step. So without further delay, let's get started. I hope you're all able to see my screen. I have actually logged into the Exchange console. Okay, I've logged into my OIM system admin console. And just as a quick reminder, I just want to once again remind that I'm not able to show the live demo while I'm doing this because of the memory issue which I discussed earlier, and also the Exchange mission is currently powered off. Okay, so I have just powered on only my OA mission. I'm going to see as you can see, the memory is already crossed 97%. So I've just powered on only the OA mission. Okay, and in the end, I'm going to separately log into the Exchange mission after powering this one off, and then we are going to just see um, uh, the Exchange console. And if I have time, I will be able to walk you through the Exchange installation steps. Okay. All right. So as I mentioned, I've just logged into the system admin console of OIM, and now, as you can see here, there are various jobs, Exchange related schedule jobs that we have, say like, Exchange leave of absence, update task, Exchange target resource, delete user recon, target resource user recon, and Exchange user mailbox, database group lookup, and then the Exchange user distribution group lookup. Okay. Now, what happens is after we configure the IT resource parameters and the connector server parameters, if we start running the job, ideally we should be, running into various errors. Okay, because in the very first, as soon as we configure the parameters, we'll not be able to, run it just like that. Okay, so you would definitely get some errors. So I just thought I will quickly show you what are the different errors that I have encountered. Okay, before I finally, I was able to successfully run this job. So ideally, in the end, you should our end objective should always to get these errors resolved and to run these jobs, successfully. So if I just show one by one, okay. So here it says like org.identity connector framework, connector exception. So I'm just going to copy this in the notepad for your quick reference. Okay. So this is the very first error which I got here. Okay. So ideally, as you can see, as per the error, you have to check your connectivity between OM and Exchange machine. Okay. Earlier, as I mentioned, I had all my Exchange installed on this same machine here. Okay. If you see, my services would be still here. But then later, as I said, once I started once I started encountering the memory related errors, I uninstalled it and pointed to a different mission. Okay, so that's when I started, having this connectivity between OIM mission and the Exchange mission. So we have to take care of that particular connectivity parameters. Okay, we have to check whether you are able to ping your Exchange mission from OIM, and then you check with the telnet parameters and all that. Okay, so that's one error. And later, after I resolved this error, I got a different error saying like invalid credential exception or something like, remote connectivity framework key is invalid and all that. So this you normally get, okay, when your connector server key parameter is, not updated correctly. So if you remember, in the fourth module, when we copied the connector bundle, you have something called the connector server key parameter. Okay, so you go to the identity connector framework. Okay, let me just show you here. Of course, this may not work because I've already moved it. So if you go here and then go to the identity connector and then connector server, you have something called a utility here, connector server.exe. So when you run this, you would be updating set key parameter one with the with the key whatever you'd like to set. This is exactly the same what we did when we did it for Active Directory 1. So if that parameter is not updated, the same value is not updated correctly in your connector server IT resource parameter. Okay. So here, if I go to the Exchange, where is this? Yeah, Exchange connector server. If this key parameter is different from what we set earlier, then you would be getting this particular error message. Okay, so that you need to take care of that. And thirdly, let me just yeah. Now, after you fix these initial errors, now the main challenge comes here. Okay, so these are the different errors that you would get when your Exchange mission encounters these errors. Yeah. So ideally, you would. I had literally had encountered and literally had tough time in resolving these errors one by one, because you will get something related to WS management service. Okay, this something comes up when your Exchange or when the services on your Exchange mission is not running successfully. Okay, so you have something called WS management. Let me just. So it says the connection to the specified remote host and configured to, see the connection to the specified remote host was refused. Verify that the WS management service is running on the remote host and configured. Okay. So if you look into the services, you would have something called WS management remote service, which I already, which will not be able to. Yeah, this is the one. Windows remote management service. So ideally, you have to make sure these services are running, and also, once you have installed your Exchange successfully, when you're trying to open your Exchange console for the first time, you would really have, if you have not set the prerequisites properly, then we would definitely encounter a lot of errors in getting those errors fixed. Okay, mainly related to WS management service. So you would also come across, or I would say, like, I encountered a lot of errors related to WS management service. Okay, and then I had to configure the various parameters, check various parameters, and I had to ensure that the IAS services are all up and running and all that. And then I uninstalled it and reinstalled it and did all that to get all these errors resolved. Okay, so that's another important error which you would be getting across. Okay, and I think after I encountered this, then I would just show you this particular message. Yeah, this is another one. It says connecting to the remote server failed with the following error message. This is again related to remote management client. Okay, so the WinRM client cannot process the request. Kitbrowse authentication cannot be used when the destination is an IP address. So what I did was, so here in your IT resource parameter, you have to give your host name rather than an IP address. Okay, so that's what this error message talks about. So earlier I just gave the IP address, and then I had to change this parameter to the host name. Okay, um, of my Exchange machine. So if I go here and then click on Exchange IT resource, so this is the host name I have to give. Earlier I gave it as um, just the IP address. So we have to take care of that error message. Okay, so that's the fourth error message which I got. Okay, I think after this I just got one more error before successfully running this jobs. Yeah, this is once again just the username password error, so which you have to take care of that. Uh, So you have to just ensure your username and admin username password for your exchange is given correctly. Okay. And then finally, after I resolved all these errors, as you can see here, finally the job status was showing success here. Okay, which means all your lookup definitions, all that from exchange would be correctly OIM would be correctly able to recognize those uh, you know uh, copied from, or I would say it would fetch from Exchange machine to OIM. Okay, so let me just click on this lookup here. Okay, then I will just give something like lookup.exchange. Okay, here. So here, as you can see, these are the various lookup definitions related to this exchange. So if I just click on something related to the mailbox database, see, it has ideally, earlier this parameter would just be blank before running the job, and once our job is successfully run, it would have these code and the decode parameters copied. You know, so like that, you can just verify whether your initial connectivity between OIM and Exchange has been set successfully or not. Okay, after running these jobs. So similarly, if you want to, run the distribution group related job, you can just run that. Okay. I think I did not try that. Okay, I think this is what okay, after fixing the problem, I just tried only with the mailbox database, and then I just, started recording this session. So in fact, earlier I just tried the same, I was getting the same kind of error messages, you know, uh, I was just switching from one job to the other to see what are the different errors that I was encountering, and that's how I got it. Yeah, all these error messages. So most of these error messages are very similar to what I've seen, what you have seen earlier. All these would be related to Windows RMC. Maybe I can just copy this. Okay, so I think that's the quick discussion about running the schedule job, guys. So after this, in our subsequent modules, we'll just be creating the application instance. Of course, we'll be creating the sandbox, and then creating the form, and then application instance for Exchange, which is very similar to what we did in Active Directory. And then finally, we'll be testing the provisioning use case. Okay. I think that's the end of the module, guys. Thanks for patiently, listening to me. Thank you.